So which one is this image?
This one is Wise. The other two, you have to come to the gallery.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, may I add something here?
Yes.
The whole woman was also a woman to be looked at with respect. They walked in the most beautiful posture, and that came because to balance themselves with the cattle, which is that pole, right?
Yes.
And then to put that, be it the basket, be it the coal, be it wood, and then to walk and not drop it. I admire them. You know, how many of us can walk with that kind of a posture and just carry it through? And it didn't matter the age actually, as long as they were doing this job. You know, I always like to throw that in because I could just imagine the beauty of the posture that a person had to keep. And yet the job was what it was.
But what about the fact that their uniform was always white?
There was no uniform.
Well, in terms of the clothing they wore,
That's
wasn't
what
it
was
white?
available.
Okay.
Yes. that
Yeah,
was
they
available.
wore white.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they had. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was wanting to know if your plans also included a compilation of your stories along with your photographs into a book that could be published.
I get that question all the time.
It should not be a question, it should be part of
No,
your
no, it's part of the plan. But I got a lot more stories to tell before I get there. The book would be a little bit too premature at this point because I always have ideas in my head that it takes time for it to formulate. It's a creation. It's not a snapped photograph. This took 6 months in my head to find the components, to find my model, who unfortunately isn't here. She's the woman that named me. When she walked through the door with my mother before I opened up the new space, I said, oh, that's my co-woman. You know, so it takes time, but I'm not over. It's not over. So I gotta keep going, and the book will come later.
I, as a former teacher, recognize you were a teacher. You just taught us. You're a superb teacher with illustration. You did everything a perfect teacher does. So you will teach through your book also. But when people ask what more can they do, they could buy the book.
They can buy it.
And that way, it goes out farther. And then it could be included in the curriculum in the school, because one day our system will get it back together. And at that point, all of these books that have been written, so many have been compiled, and I don't know if they were destroyed in the hurricane or not. I can't bear to find out right now. But many people have done the same thing through recipes, you know, many of the recipes, stories, so forth. So anyway, I really, I plead with you.
It's in the future.
To actually let the future be nearer than you had planned.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments?
I just have one more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as you know,
Yes.
my origin is not of the Virgin
I know
Islands.
that.
I came here
Yes.
as a child. But one of the things I discovered may I stand up to speak of? One of the things I discovered as a child, and then later as a teacher here, is that there were similarities.
Absolutely.
And the similarities helped me in becoming a person that was comfortable as a child to live here. You know, the similarities in the games, flying a kite, playing marble, jacks, and you know, at least in terms of the childhood games, tops, making mango doll, and all of these things, you see. So I just wanted to hear from you that as you now saw the changes, did it also help that in the changes that you also saw with those that were coming here, helping in establishing that those that were coming here from the Caribbean particularly were in fact helping secure even more some of what was in fact some of your background.
When I started the gallery, you know, I was all selfish about, you have to be from here, you have to have multi-generation. But in being very open and talking to many people that are my friends, my teacher, your families didn't start here. So I listen and I incorporate the other stories. Like I talk about French town. And what you taught me, you know, long ago, they used to blow the conch shell to let you know fresh fish was coming in. That was a very specific thing that they did here. But then my second grade teacher, Miss Mary Lou Bonnet from Guadeloupe, she said, but in Guadeloupe, each family had a unique blow to let you know which family. And I capture those moments in my head, and then when I tell the story, I include other people's story. That's what I do. So let me see if I have it, because I rearranged everything. I had a letter. In case I didn't bring it. Anyway, I rearranged everything. I had a letter from a woman. I'm just going to summarize it. This woman was of an older generation, maybe 2 generations away from me, and she lives in New Jersey. And she bought The Gift of Freedom print, which is my mother's hands, and she also bought 2 of the Cold Women in the series, and she has them on her wall in her house. But she wrote a letter to me because she wanted me to understand what those images meant to her. You know, she talked about, when she opened it up, the package, that The Gift of Freedom reminded her of her mother and what she did to be able to put food on the table, and when she went to work and to change her career and the racism that she felt. But I can't summarize it because it's very powerful, and I wish I had the letter. But then she also talked about the Cold Women and what it meant to her, and that her great-grandmother also died from tuberculosis. But that her great-grandmother took in all of her grandchildren because the parents had passed away. So those things that people tell me, they resonate with me to know that this connects to not just us, but other Caribbean islands, this mainland. What happens is, like I say, traditions are a compilation of many cultures and people. What happens when it gets to a specific place, we put our fingerprint on it. So we modify it for us, but the similarities still exist in the base of the culture. So yes, I recognize that. Yes, Papa.
You talk about your cousins and your family shrinking and everybody going away. And as I sit here and I kind of visualize who's in the room, yourself, no children, me with my one son.
Yeah.
We got people, you know, I could just sit and, you know, people who know,
Yep.
but we have nobody to give it to.
Nobody.
So even my son, 35 years old, who decided in October to leave and go back to the States, when he calls me on a Sunday to ask me how to cook something, I actually want to say, leave me alone, I want to sleep. But I wake up and I say, okay, let's walk through it so that he knows how to do something to carry on the tradition. So I say that to say this. Is there anything that you're doing or thinking about to get, like, bring and hold on to the young people who want to hear what we have to say? That next generation that we may not, they're not actually ours.
Right, they're not
right?
ours, yeah.
But they want to hear.
I haven't
Have
gotten
you
that
thought
far
about
yet.
it?
I haven't gotten that far yet.
Yeah.
I've been less than a year in this space. It's been phenomenal. And the reach, yes, I don't know how to make that reach yet, but like the book is one idea, but yeah, I honestly haven't gotten to that point yet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, what was the suggestion? Yeah, I think we do need to figure out some way to get that next generation who's willing to listen so
Yeah.
that they could be
The carrier.
their carrier
To the next.
to the next one.
Yeah.
Because our parents, my parents, not yours are young. My mother's, you know, they're just aging. you
Yeah,
know?
the aging.
Right,
And when we think we're going to remember everything, like, yeah, I know
No,
uncle
no,
such and such,
no.
our brains are full.
Yeah.
So we're not going to remember, so our memories are fading, and it has nothing to do with age. It has everything to do with very full life
Yeah.
that we have. So those things start to recede because we're not hearing it over and over and over again. So that's why I say write it, share it, put it in a letter, have it in a vault, and give it to your family. Share it with your family wherever they are, even if you're not close with them. Share it.
I want to say, it also doesn't have to be organized. Yeah, Abba and I, we have talked about
Yeah.
this type of thing. It doesn't have to be organized. You just have a say you remember, oh, I remember this. Pull out that pen and paper and just write it down.
Yep.
And it's just one story. I call them, for myself, I call them memory joggers.
Yes.
You see,
Yes.
that's so, it's my memory jogger. So, and I just put it in a folder.
Yeah.
And maybe sometime later I'll do it. I say, oh, take all this word, put in another one, is better. So, but no, the fact is you have to put it down and just keep accumulating them.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes.
We, at our age, were considering signing up for one of these things you hear advertised on NPR,
Mhm.
storybook, or
Yeah.
storyboard.
Yeah.
I've talked to friends who have done it, and they are really pleased with the result and the help that comes through in creating their own personal history.
Right.
And if enough of us did that,
Enough of
And
this.
compile them.
Exactly. So I didn't want to go that far, but I really feel like it needs to be a community project.
yes, I
Right?
think so too.
That we all create, contribute to the story and then have it available for the world to see. Yes, mother.
You talk about memory joggers, Miss Burnett. Thank you for that. I had one last night that I had never shared with her because it just
For real?
wasn't there.
Yeah.
And I shared with her that when I was a child growing up in Savannah, the Zulus and the Indians used to masquerade around Christmas. And then they would have a war on General Garda with the Zulus. I mean, the Zulus used to scare the heck out of everybody because if you know what a Zulu looked like, they would be completely black. They would put some kind of paint